Hi, it's the Rossum Vegan Gal here, and today this is kind of a topical video, but it also involves a product. And today I'm talking about the importance of vitamin B12. I did mention once in a video on vitamins, but I'm also going to be talking to you about a product that you can use as a supplement to get more vitamin B12 into your body and how to use it, and my review of using the product. So first I want to thank Frederick and Sarah from Renegade Health, and also Kevin and Anne-Marie Gianni as well. So the product is a B12 energy patch, and it's got 1,000 micrograms of active vitamin B12 and 400 micrograms of folic acid. And this is considered a dietary supplement, and it comes in a pack like this. There's 8 patches per pack. But first I want to tell you about vitamin B12 and being a vegan. I don't think I've ever supplemented with B12. I've been a vegan for 25 years, so I decided to try this and see what will happen. So vitamin B12 is important for metabolism. It helps in the formation of red blood cells and the maintenance of the central nervous system. It's one of the vitamins that they say is only available from animal products, and but there is a company that developed a way to actually get it transdermally. So these are patches. So what I was told to do is apply it behind the ear. You could do it overnight, but what I decided to do was something a little different. And I'll explain that to you later. And then it comes in this packet, and I'll show you what it looks like in here. It comes in this sealed package, and I actually numbered mine. You can't see them. There's 8. One went missing, and I'll explain that to you in a second, and I will tell you I'm wearing number 5. So this is the 5th week of me using it, and I would put it on 3 times a week for about 8 hours. I read up that the patch is actually good for 24 hours, so I split that up into 3 days. And it says to, you put it back on that backing so it retains the ingredients, and you could reuse it. And I was told that people use it 1 to 3 times a week, depending on how they're feeling, just for your own information. So some of the information that was on the site regarding this I want to share with you. So this article was written by Kevin Gianni about how to raise your B12 levels quickly, increase your energy without expensive shots or supplements that don't work. So also here he talks about how it's essential for proper neurological function, and a deficiency can lead to irreversible damage. So it is a surefire way to increase your energy levels and prevent health problems. So again, like being a vegan or a raw vegan, most of us likely have B12 deficiencies. Now what I didn't do, which probably would have been beneficial, was to have my blood work done to test for B12. I didn't do that. So I don't really know where my levels are at. I can't say for sure. So here they're saying about how people often are spaced out, and that can be associated with vitamin B12 deficiency. Vitamin B12 is the energy vitamin. It's important to maintain it for energy constant enough to keep you out the day without irritability or unusual fatigue. I don't usually get that. I mean, maybe sometimes they do, but not maybe to the level that most people do. And it says all here, anyone that follows a vegan, vegetarian, or raw food diet should absolutely be supplementing with B12. And about 40% of the population tests low for it, relatively low. And also because the environment that we live in is so sanitized, the bacteria that we normally produce, the B12 are not often present, like if you eat some dirt or things like that, the soil organisms. So, and it's also a very sensitive vitamin. Sometimes it can be found in the right quantities, but can't be absorbed by the body because of lack of what's called an intrinsic factor. So you may be missing that. And a slight change in digestion can cause B12 absorption problems as well. So he talks about how he overcome this. He was looking for supplements. You could use sublingual tablets. You could use, people do shots, but they're very expensive. And but what he said here were that he found that most supplements were not absorbed completely by the body. And that's what you want. You want to convert and be absorbed by the body, otherwise it's of no use. So the solution that he found was these patches, because like he says here, the B12 shots can cost you up to $250 in North America, and some people don't like needles. So these vegan B12 patches was something he discovered, and like he said to you, you can leave them on for 24 hours, and after 24 hours you don't use them anymore. So what I did was, he says about at night, I actually have done it during the daytime, and I'll explain to you what I did shortly. So what's in these B12 patches, like I said, is 1,000 micrograms of vitamin B12 or methylcobalamin. And others on the market contain cyanocobalamin, which is the cheaper source that your body needs to convert. But methylcobalamin is already ready for absorption, so that's the difference. You don't have to do anything to it. And so there are B12 patches that says raise your B12 level, so you don't have to worry about becoming deficient, and you don't have to wear them all the time. You can use them once a week until your levels are up, and then as needed to maintain your levels. So like I said, I did it spread out over a few days, 8 hours for each day. And then it says here about all B12 patches aren't equal. Some marketers create their own brands of B12s, but according to lab tests, they have very low B12. And they said they tested them. So 75% of British vegetarians are B12 depleted, according to a study by European Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2010. And 50% were already deficient enough to experience neurological damage. That is unbelievable. And 21% were completely depleted. And people following ovo-lacto vegetarian diet, 7% were deficient, and 17% were completely depleted. But no one knows the actual levels for the general population, so that's why B12 deficiencies, what they say it can lead to is low energy, muscle pains, irritability, heart dysfunction, hearing loss, memory loss, and a constant feeling of being spaced out. So if you have any of those symptoms right now, this will definitely be something you can look into. Oh, and I will have a link below this video to where you can check out to get these products. And another symptom is tingling in the fingers and toes. And then when the neurological damage continues, it can lead to tremors in the extremities. Now, I don't know if they mean pins and needles, because I've had that, so I don't know if that's related to it. And the chronic fatigue caused by B12 deficiency can lead into a full-scale depression. Now, that I did not know. So again, what they're saying here is if you had one of the following health concerns, try our B12 patches. They are low energy, fatigue, muscle pain, irritability, heart dysfunction, blood sugar spikes, weak bones, hearing loss, vision loss, memory loss, diminished brain function, emotional and mood problems, weight loss, surgery. And who should use these? It says here that anyone who's deficient in B12 or folic acid, because this does as well have folic acid in it. So this would be for most people, I think, in the world to try out. And if you are deficient, they say use them twice a week. Again, I use them 3 times. B12 overdoses are unknown, and the patches just provide the right quantity. Because it's transdermal, meaning it goes into the body, but it doesn't cause it any harm. Now, on their site, I know they offer some deals, so you could check that out. And then they ask why not use oral B12, because most multivitamins only contain a very small amount of the cyanocobalamin, which they don't recommend, and then it needs to be converted to the methylcobalamin, and the absorption is a serious problem with oral supplementation, they say. So if you took 500 micrograms of vitamin B12, you might only be absorbing 1.8 micrograms. That's a big difference from if you took 500 and you're only absorbing 1.8. That's huge. So that's why the oral supplementation doesn't work. So you're wasting so much of it. But these B12 patches from Healthy Habits are in the active coenzyme form the body needs and are immediately available to the body. So then you get a steady release of vitamin B12 over the day, which is nice. And then they ask also why not B12 sublingual. Also, they say, again, it doesn't contain the proper form of the B12, and that it needs to be converted, and again, you're probably not absorbing it. So they're saying the same thing with the sublingual, the same issue. What about vitamin B12 shots? They say people have had great results. The downside is injections requiring a prescription, and they're very expensive. But with the patches, they're much more affordable to you. And you should be able to feel more energy, endurance to enjoy life, especially if you have been already depleted by some of the things I mentioned, some of the health concerns. If you have those already, then definitely. It can't hurt you to take it, even if you don't necessarily feel anything. You're definitely still absorbing it. Again, I would highly recommend you test your blood first. I didn't do it, so I don't necessarily know. And then can you take too much? Again, even a high dose, they say of 2,500 micrograms is safe. And the patch, again, is good for 24 hours. And I already explained you want to put it back on the paper so you don't lose any of the vitamin B12 until you use it again. And then it says that the surgical glue is sticky enough to withstand several moves and reapplications. I beg to differ, and I'll talk to you about that. Side effects, no known side effects. They're rare. It include itchy, rash, and maybe diarrhea, but that's ridiculous. I've used them for 4 weeks, and I've not had any of those symptoms. And just so I want to make a disclaimer that these products have not been evaluated by the USDA and not approved for treatment of any disease or cure, prevent disease or diagnose. And just so you know, myself and anyone that's involved with this product and the companies mentioned are not responsible. If you have any adverse reactions to this, seek advice from your physician first before using any products like this. So I just want to make that disclaimer because I don't have any, nobody can say for sure, you know, that this is like the cure-all, but that we want to make sure we do. So now I'm going to tell you about my experiences using this. So they mentioned that you should put it, store in a cool, dry place, continue to have a rash, keep out of reach of children. If you're pregnant or lactating, you may want to consult with your practitioner before using this product as well. And besides the folic acid and B12, it just has the medical grade, it's hypoallergenic adhesive that makes it sticky. So they want you to put it on a clean, dry, hair-free skin behind the ear. And sometimes I've had some hair get stuck in it, even as much as I have a lot of hair. I pushed it back. Should be on the upper part of the neck. That's where they recommend. So what I did was when I started, I actually alternated the ears. Not that I don't think that would make a big difference, but 1 week I did on the right, behind the right ear, and when I did behind the left ear, again, I said I use it for 8 hours, 3 times a week. First week, I didn't necessarily feel any difference in the first few days of using it, for 3 days. The only thing I can say that was very interesting was my body wanted to go to sleep earlier, and I did actually. Like, I didn't force myself. It was just like, I want to go to sleep, and a lot of times I would stay up late to do things, so that's something that I just did naturally. Second week, I put it on my left ear, I says, and then I found that it not sticking so well. I know they say that it's supposed to stick really good after a few applications, but I found that it did not stick as well as I hoped it would. They got kind of, maybe it was the placement. Like, you have to be careful where you place it, I think. If you place it where there's a bone and there may be a curve by that area, it may cause it to not stay so well. So you may want to try to find a place where there's a flat surface, so to speak, behind your ear, as flat as possible. Because right now I have it on my right side, and I think I found a good spot, so it seems to be sticking fairly well. And this is only the second day of this week that I'm using it. And then, for example, like the second week, I forgot to put it on and then took it off later, so I just subtracted the hours, and then if I wore it later on the third day, then it wouldn't have any effect anyway. Third week, I went back to the right ear. Again, I still haven't felt anything really different using it. And like I said, I never got tested, so I have to be honest with what I'm feeling from it again. But I've heard raves about it, like people who do have serious issues, they do feel a lot different. But I'm sure it benefited me anyway. Fourth week was behind the left ear. Again, I found that the adhesive was wearing down quickly, even by the first application. That was in week 4. And then what happened was I actually lost them a few times, I guess maybe in taking off clothing or something, and it kept moving around. And I found it a few times, and then eventually I lost it, because if I showed you on the patch here, I was missing one, because I put them back on to show you, because I had them numbered. I don't know if you can see the numbers on there. They're not quite clear, but I lost number 4 completely. I don't know where it went. So you might want to do that for your own benefit. Just, you know, you could throw them out afterwards. I just did the benefit for the video to show you what I used. So that's something I'd say maybe the company needs to work on to do some improvements on it. And like I said, now I'm in the 5th week, and I was out of town for a few days, so my sleep was kind of not as good. So I probably should have used it then when I was more tired. So when I used it the first day, I don't know that I was still really tired, but I don't know if I felt any difference. But it's interesting, today is the second 8-hour cycle that I'm doing. And I do feel like I have a little more energy, not that I usually have less energy. So I'm going to still keep using them. I have a few more patches left. So, but I wanted to share with you my thoughts on it, my experiences, and also why you should definitely check this out. Again, I can't say for sure, but I highly recommend that you do get a blood test. If you can go to your doctor and get that. I don't know if they do B12 by themselves, or you could have that done. It would be a good idea, because then you could really monitor what your levels are, and then after you use it, see the difference. But like, again, most people actually feel the difference. You know, especially if you're a person who is very has those symptoms that I mentioned, those health concerns. You will definitely, I can almost guarantee, but I can't, you know, because I'm not a doctor and we can't diagnose or cure anyone with this product, but it should be helpful to the body. And it's a great way of using it, like you said. The other ways don't work right or don't have the proper form of B12 that the body can absorb readily. You want to have that. So again, these are the B12 energy patches. And it comes in an 8-patch at a time, and then you can buy multiple ones, and I believe they offer discounts when you buy multiple. So again, I thank you for watching. It's the Rawesome Vegan Gal.